So how can you lose weight fast? In this short video, I want to share with you 3 big secrets that if you really understand this and you really buy into this, it's going to help you lose weight faster than you ever thought possible. And here's a big thing. I'm not going to speak about calories. I'm not going to speak about exercise. I'm not going to speak about any of those things because, to be honest with you, when you understand what these 3 big secrets are that prevent you from losing weight fast, if you can get your head around this stuff, it will quite literally help you to transform the way your body looks, feels and moves, and be able to maintain it for a long time. So that's what I'm going to share with you in this short video. Now, if you haven't been on my channel before, my name's Eric Simpson. I'm an online weight loss coach. I work with busy professional women over 40 who are looking to lose weight without having to count calories or spend hours and hours and hours exercising. And if you want some additional training on top of this, there'll be a link below this video where you can go and watch my online webinar, how busy women over 40 can lose weight, get in great shape without having to count calories or spend hours exercising every day. And I share 3 of the biggest challenges that a group of ladies had that I work with, who were able to lose, one lady 71 pounds, another one, I think it was 85 pounds, another one, 85 pounds as well. So I just go into some case studies. But for today, I'm going to talk about how you can lose weight fast. And to do that, you need to understand 3 big secrets that are out there that nobody really kind of talks about, I guess. And I can understand why in a way, because it might not be good commercial sense for them to do that. But I'm here to give you some hard, honest truth, because I know how challenging losing weight can be. I know it from a professional point of view, having been in this area now for over a decade, working with women and men, and having had to lose some weight myself. I just know how difficult it is, how challenging it can be. And these 3 secrets, once you get your head wrapped around it and you accept these things and you start to work on them, then things change almost like overnight. Okay, so what are they? First of all, I run a program called Coach Me Slim and Trim, and I've got certain steps that I teach that I believe is the best way for weight loss. That's my method. There are slimming clubs out there that teach their method, that they believe is their best method. There are gyms out there that have got their own method. There are personal trainers out there. And we all have our own methods of how we think weight loss should be achieved, and hopefully in a healthy way and a sustainable way. So we've all got our approaches. But here's the reality of it. Every single client I've ever worked with, when they work with me, they make it up as they go along. I'll say that again. They make it up as they go along. And you might think, hey, Eric, you just said you're a weight loss coach, you've got a program. What do you mean they make it up? Surely you're guiding them, aren't you? Well, yes, I am. I provide, a framework. I provide feedback, a structure, accountability. I provide all those things. Healthy eating plans, exercise ideas, everything that you need to be successful, I provide it. However, we're all individuals. We've all got different situations that we live in. I've got some clients who have got younger children, so they're having to look after those children, and they've got a busy career, and they're traveling. I have some clients who are full-time retired, so they've got lots of time on their hands where they can be out socializing with friends, eating and drinking. I've got other clients who don't have kids, but are busy running businesses or building their careers. So everyone's a little bit different. So they have to make it up as they go along. And let me give you an example of what I mean by having to make it up whilst you've got a structure. So one of the principles I teach people is, and this is not unique at all, is, look, and it's an example, you need to improve, let's say, your cardiovascular fitness, for argument's sake. So I may have one client that says, well, I quite like walking. Okay. You can make up your journey, your weight loss journey, from a physical fitness point of view for cardiovascular training based on walking, so you can walk. Another client might say to me, Eric, I quite like cycling. Okay, you go and cycle, you make that up. Another one might like swimming. Okay, go and make up swimming. So you make it up as you go along. It's the same with eating. I provide really good balanced meals, breakfast, lunch, evening meal, things to eat in between, all the calories counted, everything done to the point whereby you can literally take one of my eating plans, add barcodes on them, you can scan them into various apps and it'll tell you exactly what's there. All that work's been done, but I may have two people that eat completely differently. I may have one that's a vegetarian, one that's not a vegetarian. So guess what? They're both going to make up their own journey. You know, I'll talk about the importance of protein. I'll talk about the importance of eating carbs, which are high in nutrition and low in calories. I'll talk about healthy fats, but they're going to make up what's going to work best for them because their lifestyle is unique for them. So understand, everybody is making it up as they go along. When I lost my weight, I followed the same principles that I teach people, but I had to make up my own journey because I'm different from my clients. They don't have my lifestyle, so I have to make it up to fit my situation. So understand, you have to make it up as you go along, and there is no magic bullet. You can't look at a friend and say, well, my friend did that program and they lost 3 stone. I'm going to do exactly what they did. Well, maybe you can try and do that, but I suggest that's going to be really difficult because they made up their story to fit their situation. And if you're trying to follow their story, but it doesn't fit your situation, you're going to be in big trouble. So understand, you have to make up this as you go along. Hopefully you've got some guidance, some structure, some feedback, some accountability to help you on the way, but you're going to be making up as you go along. And that's the truth of the matter. And there is no magic bullet. If there were a magic bullet, believe you me, I'd be offering that up now, but there isn't a magic bullet. So that's secret number 1. No magic bullet. You've got to make it up as you go along using that structure, that framework, that feedback, that accountability. That's number 1. Number 2 secret that holds people back. And it's this one, and it's a big one. And it's imposter syndrome for people. They don't feel as if it's them. It just doesn't feel like me. I've had clients who have lost, just thinking off the top of my head right now, I've got a client who's lost just over 2 stone in 12 weeks. And you'd think she'd be over the moon and she'd be feeling fantastic. She's probably got to lose another 2 or 3 stone based on what her goal was at the start. But you'd think, well, she must be over the moon with that, losing that kind of weight, 2 stone in 12 weeks. That's brilliant. And it is brilliant. But one of the conversations we had was, it just doesn't feel like her. It just doesn't feel like me, she said. You know, I've always been overweight all my life. I've always been the overweight person in my social group. As a kid growing up, I was overweight. As a young adult, I was overweight. And now in my 50s, approaching 60, I'm overweight. So struggling with their own identity. And here's the thing, they say you can't outrun or out-exercise a poor diet, but the image you have in your head, you can't outperform, outbehave, outact that image you have in your head, if that's the image you have. So here's secret number 2. You have to work on your own identity on a regular basis, because once you have that identity in your head, and it doesn't come automatically, by the way, if you've never been there, it'll be a very vague, fuzzy feel. It won't be quite clear. As I've just said, the lady's lost 2 stone and still she's like, this is not me. But secret number 2 is you have to work on your psychology. And it's very difficult to work on your psychology by yourself. And here's why it's difficult to work on the psychology by yourself. Because the thinking that got you into the situation you're in now is not the thinking that's going to get you out of it. You need some external stimulus, whether that's in the form of a coach like me, or reading a book, or going to a workshop, or doing something that's going to change your perspective and how you see and how you think about things. Because until you have that change, that different perspective, you'll continually be on a feedback loop saying that you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, it doesn't feel like you. You feel like an imposter. And eventually you will rise or sink to the level that you have of yourself as your own self-image in your own head. So that's secret number 2. You've got to work on your own psychology. And that's the biggest thing I do with clients, I tell you. I mean, most people, when it comes to healthy eating, when they come to me, they've got a pretty decent handle on that. You know, most people know what they should be eating roughly. Okay, there are some things they don't know that I fill in. When it comes to exercise, again, most people know they need to be reasonably, active. Again, I fill in some things there to make it more efficient so they can work out less but get more bang for their buck, as it were. But the biggest thing I work with clients is on their mindset and how they approach things, their attitude, their belief systems, their values. Those are the things that will either accelerate you or will bring you down and prevent you from even getting started with weight loss. So that's secret number 2. You have to work on your own psychology. And that brings me to number 3. What's number 3? Number 3 is one that we all suffer with in different areas of our lives, and it's a big one when it comes to losing weight and improving your health, and that is fear of failure. And somebody once shared with me that each of those letters in fear stands for something: false evidence appearing real. And it is, because if we look at those first 2 things I've shared with you, that's all false evidence. You know, the fact that you've got this image of yourself, is that really who you are? Are you telling me you're not capable of creating something else? Of course you are. So that's false evidence appearing real, and it appears real because you keep on playing it over and over and over again, so it becomes your reality. But look, here's the thing about fear. I'm going to let you into a big secret here. Big secret. You're going to fail. Everybody fails. Everybody fails when it comes to weight loss. The question is, how long are you going to allow that failure to last for? Is it going to be for one meal? So you failed at your breakfast, which then means you're going to fail for the day, because that's what typically happens, which is then going to lead to you failing for the rest of the week, which can then spill over into the month. And before you know it, 3 months have gone by and you failed. Why? Because of that one breakfast. You're going to fail. And I build into my program failure. I expect people to fail. I want people to fail, because why? They're going to learn something. And once you've learned something and you understand it and you internalize it and you get over that particular reason why you failed, you've made progress. Does that mean you'll never fail at that thing again? Of course not. Does it mean you're never going to have that bad meal, that bad week again, miss that workout, maybe have a bad few weeks, maybe even a bad month? Does it mean you're never ever going to have a bad month again? Of course it doesn't. You know, you're going to fail again. But if you go into this thinking that you are going to be 100% successful from the time you start to the time you get to your goal, you've set the bar so high, you're doomed for failure from the get-go. I'm a big tennis fan. My clients know that. You know it now as well. Roger Federer, arguably the greatest Wimbledon champion ever. He's won 8 titles. But he's played at Wimbledon maybe 20 times. So he's failed 12 times. But he's still a great champion. Could you imagine if the first time he went to Wimbledon, he lost and he said, oh, well, that's it for me. I'm giving up. I can't win Wimbledon. He'd have never gone to win his 8. He learnt from those mistakes. He went away, improved. He got a coach. Him. He practiced. He put himself in situations against different opponents and tested what he'd learnt. Same with weight loss. You learn some stuff. You put yourself in different situations. The situation might be, what do you like in the evening? Having learnt some new skills, how do you deal with the evening when it comes to eating, which is a big downfall for a lot of people? Or it may be the weekend. How do you deal with the weekend? Because that's your downfall. Or maybe it's when you go away on weekend breaks, or when you go out socializing a couple of times a week. You know, in the past that's let you down. You failed. How do you deal with that? So failure is part of the whole process. And unless you accept that and you embrace the fact that you are going to fail, you're going to have a miserable effort at trying to lose weight, because the first time you fail, or the second time, or the third time, you're going to give up. But if you know from the get-go failure is part of it, and you have a structure, a system, some accountability, some feedback around you, then, and you're prepared to buy into that and you trust what's being said to you, you'll be fine. It takes the pressure off you. You're no longer trying to be 100% perfect, which is what a lot of people try and be, you know, because they're very good in maybe their career, maybe they're very good in their family life. But even when you look at all other aspects of your life, when you think about it for a second, you've failed in all areas of your life. You must have done, because nobody's perfect. We always fail. But when it comes to weight loss, for some reason, we don't want to accept the failure and we see ourselves as bad people because, oh, failed again. It's part of the process. And the final little tip I'm going to give you in this little 3-part secret is this one. And this is a huge one, I think. It's huge. When it comes to getting started on weight loss, this is my biggest tip I give people. Biggest tip. And that is, keep what you're doing to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Don't go and tell family. Don't go and tell your friends. Don't go and tell work colleagues what you're trying to do. And why do I say that? I say that because the second the cat's let out of the bag, it's amazing how people suddenly, camera's gone a bit funny there. It's amazing how people suddenly become experts at weight loss. People become experts at telling you what to eat, what not to eat, when to eat, how to exercise. And then when you start losing the weight, they start saying things like, oh, don't lose any more weight now. Typically, they tend to be people who may be a bit heavier than you, and they're getting a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that the status quo is now shifting. You know, you're the person that has historically been maybe, you know, great at home life and great with your career, and maybe they haven't been so great at those things, but they've always been a slimmer one. But now you're trying to take the thing that they used to be able to lord over you. Not that people necessarily lorded it over you, but they felt like that was their space. And now suddenly you're occupying that space as well. Oh, that can drive people crazy. So my advice is, don't tell people what you're doing. Let the results speak for themselves. As the weight starts to come off and people start asking questions, just say something like, hey, you know, it's what I tell my clients anyway, to say, don't say you're working with me. They don't need to know that. By all means, tell them once you've got your result, but whilst we're trying to get there, this is a private journey that you and I are working on. Maybe you have to tell your spouse because of, you know, for obvious reasons, maybe eating differently, cooking differently, they need to know that. But really, don't be telling people. Save that emotional energy for yourself, because losing weight takes time, it takes effort, it takes emotional energy. You're not just trying to lose weight, you've got other things in your life to be dealing with. You know, you've got family, friends, work colleagues, business, career, elderly parents, teenage kids maybe. You've got a lot of things to contend with. So you don't want to be wasting your energy trying to explain to people how you're trying to lose weight and why you're doing what you're doing and justifying it to other people. Keep it to yourself. You'll have a lot more fun that way as well. And as the weight starts coming off, because you're not explaining to people, if you do happen to go off the rails and have a pudding or a couple of alcoholic drinks or whatever it is you've done in the past with them, nobody knows. Nobody can comment. Nobody can say, I thought you were trying to lose weight. Should you be eating that? And that's enough for you now if you're trying to lose weight. You haven't got to deal with all of that nonsense. So hopefully those 3 secrets that I've shared with you make some difference to you. Understand that we make it up as we go along. That's number 1. Understand we all have a bit of imposter syndrome, but you have to work on your psychology. And understand failure is part of the process. It really is. Hopefully you found that of some use. And again, I say, if you find a link around this video, it's a whole training I do on you know, how to lose weight without counting calories or spending hours exercising every day. It's free to watch. I give you some real life case studies. I talk about the journey that these 3 ladies took and how they, you know, managed to work through some really difficult situations. The link's around this video. Find the link now, click on that, and enjoy watching. And until next time, take very good care and bye for now.